Hi there guys, so Terence Crawford has got the knockout victory over Kell Brook in the 4th round. Now Kell Brook started quite well and he was finding his distance and his range, getting behind that jab, and was probably finding his distance and range a little bit better than Terence Crawford at the beginning of this event. But it was Terence Crawford who warmed into the fight, and once he found his distance he was able to land at ease with Kell Brook, and every time Kell Brook had success, Terence Crawford had an answer to it, and that was kind of the problem. Kell Brook did have his moments, but it was always answered by Terence Crawford, and that is the mark of an elite level fighter. Nothing ever goes unanswered, and that was how Terence Crawford was able to overcome all of the sticky situations that he was in, because there were no moments in there for Terence Crawford where he looked like he was worried at any stage. He was in control the whole time, and obviously that is because he's been there before. He has the experience at this kind of level, and that served him well in this fight. Now, after the fight, this is what Kell Brook had to say. "This is boxing, I got caught with a shot I didn't see. The referee waved it off, and that's never happened to me before. I'd rather lose out on my shield. The better man won." And Terence Crawford had this to say: "I was trying to gauge the gap and the distance. He had good distance, I was trying to find my distance, and it was so competitive at first. I stepped forward more, threw more punches and caught him some good times." So obviously now all of the beef before the fight is sorted in the ring. It always is, so that's a good thing. But you can see the difference between the two of them, where Kell Brook started well, yes, but Terence Crawford really warmed into the fight. And one thing I noticed about Terence Crawford is sometimes he does make it a little bit difficult for himself by overcomplicating things. He didn't do that tonight. What he done was make sure he kept it not necessarily simple, but he worked to his strengths. And as he said, Kell Brook was judging distance quite well and he was gauging the gap between the two of them. But Terence Crawford slowly started to get closer to Kell Brook and find his range and find punches that would land. And that is just because he has such good punch variation. He's so fast as well that he was able to find those shots that got through the guard of Kell Brook. Brook did start well, and yes, of course, it was competitive, but he was in there with an elite level fighter who had levels and gears to go through. And when Terence Crawford started going through the gears, that was somewhere where Kell Brook was unable to follow. Maybe because of the early success, Kell Brook believed that he had a foothold in the fight and maybe was looking to try a few different things, when really what he needed to do was maintain the distance, keep the jab flowing, and then he can look for the more creative punches as the fight wears on. When Terence Crawford is fresh, he is at his most dangerous because Crawford does fight at a rhythm, so it was maybe too early for Kell Brook to start getting creative with his work. And as I said, Terence Crawford always takes it to that next level. Kell Brook could not go to that level with him, and that was the reason why Terence Crawford won out in this fight. And sometimes it comes down to the simple things, and I think that Kell Brook needed to keep it a little bit more simple going on maybe to the mid rounds. Maybe he was mixing it up a little bit too early in this contest, but then again, he's in there with Terence Crawford, who has the angles, the ability, the speed, the movement, the power also, we can see that now. So he was in there with a quality operator and he got caught with a punch he did not see, which is going to happen when you're in there with someone who can land punches at angles like Terence Crawford can. Now, obviously after this fight, he has beaten Kell Brook, has Terence Crawford. Where does he go now? Well, apparently there is some problems or something behind the scenes with his promoter Top Rank. So maybe there could be a move to PBC, which would make that Errol Spence fight a lot easier to make. That is the fight we all want to see. We want to see those two get into the ring and see who is number one in the welterweight division. Some have Errol Spence, some have Terence Crawford. The only way to find out is to see it in the ring. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. Anyway guys, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.